Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left, you know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less.
I really did it.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, you know, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome, and I don't, you know, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And then I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation.
Well, as we know, there's a massive amount of fraud in this country. You have, for example, foreign fraud rings. These are foreign nationals who come into the United States. They use fake Social Security numbers, they use fake identities to steal billions in taxpayer benefits. There's no way to know until DOGE gains full access exactly how much money we're talking about. But over a 10-year normal budget window, you could be talking about saving over $1 trillion by clamping down on massive fraud in our tax and entitlement systems, including, again, those carried out by organized fraud and theft rings.
The left continues to melt down because apparently DOGE has delved too greedily and too deep into our government cesspool of a system to reveal the massive waste and fraud that is happening. And I want to give a shout out to Elaine's Domain for actually reminding me about this story, where $4.7 trillion of taxpayer money has gone into a government black hole, right? So Elon Musk of the DOGE department tweeted out this tweet the other day. Says the Treasury Access System, TAS, is an identification code linking a Treasury payment to a budget line item, which is a standard financial process. In the federal government, the TAS field was optional for $4.7 trillion in payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible, right? So where is the money going? We have no idea. Who is it funding? What was it doing? We have no idea because apparently by design, this money was just sent out willy-nilly to who the heck knows, okay? But thankfully, Elon Musk has changed the field, saying as of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight to where money is actually going, okay? So the amount of waste and possible illegality and fraud is myriad in the federal government, and we've only started, right? This has only been going on for a few weeks. And I also want to give a shout out to Non Jones for reminding me about the DOGE department, right? You can come over here at doge.gov and actually look at the savings they are saying already, the stuff they're posting. Now, right here, they're saying we've only got $55 billion in savings so far. That number is going to skyrocket as they start to continue and post the receipts, right? And down here, click on the links and you get an actual look at the receipts that the left, of course, is demanding so much of, right? Because right now the big argument is, oh, they just say they're actually finding all of this stuff. They're saying that all these contracts exist, but we don't actually believe them. And yet here we are. And in light, of course, of all this government waste, thank goodness Donald Trump and Elon Musk are paring down government workers who are basically redundant and unnecessary, as is going to be discussed here by Kevin O'Leary. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Not only do you have to protect the safety of Americans physically, but I think you have to protect our safety mentally. You know, we see you laying off people from the FAA. At this point, nobody at the FAA is dispensable. I think you have to keep everybody there at least, you know, for the time being, because we've had these major plane crashes that you haven't seen in 16 years.
Kevin, the optics of this is what you're referring to.
I think the issue is they're not whacking enough. There's this concept in private equity, when you get a bankrupt company and you go in there, you cut 20% more than your initial read. And then you find, like a pool of mercury, the organization gels back together again. Always cut deeper, harder when there's fat and waste. The FAA, it's not the people. The code is cobalt. It's from the 60s. It needs CapEx put into it for the technology to be upgraded to make it safer. Fat like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms. Cut, 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 cut. More cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great. Everybody should be happy about this.
Even people with the nuclear codes, cut them too?
Cut everything. Because if you don't see what they're doing and they can't show you that they're adding value, you whack.
But it's not clear that they're even asking people to show us what you're doing. Again,
This was a story Friday, and literally Elon said, "Oops, we gotta rehire them because nobody knows how to do what these people know how to do."
Yeah, the
And he
nuclear
admitted,
thing. Okay, gets it wrong once in a while. Big deal. So what?
I agree
That's
with that.
10% of the time.
It's okay. I actually think it's okay if they run into a stumble here or there because the project is so massive. The need to cut is so massive. The government is so massive. It's inconceivable that you wouldn't make a mistake here or there. But I think that's acceptable if the greater goal is achieved, which is a smaller government, more efficient government.
even if someone,
trim the fat.
even if someone dies, or even if someone, because
Are
we're
you
talking
alleging
about,
that someone has died from this?
we don't know. I'm talking about when the rubber meets the road. I'm talking about, for example, Kansas City, 30,000 government employees might be laid off. It will destroy the economy of Kansas City. That's okay.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm reading what the individuals from Kansas City have been saying, that they're very concerned.
What do you think they're going to say when they're going to get
Of
whacked?
course they're going to say that. But my point is, do we think that's smart
Does
to
the-
let an American city just go under?
How many American cities need a massively oversized federal government to stay afloat? I mean, isn't that
Again-
says more about the city than the government?
But when did we get to the
Smart.
point where presidents are measuring themselves by how many people they put out of work instead of how many people they get jobs
Not a
for?
moment too soon.
Yeah,
Not a moment
this is
too
crazy.
soon.
This is
Because
absolutely
the government only ever gets
big
bigger,
fat
never
chickens.
smaller.
Hopefully,
Oh my goodness, this pundit on the right of the screen apparently doesn't understand that the government doesn't really create jobs. It takes taxpayers' money and then doles that out to hire people, right? That is not creating an actual job that performs a legitimate service necessarily, okay? So if someone can't actually justify what they're doing, what is their specific purpose, then they need to be nixed out. And of course, when the moderator says, well, what about the nuclear codes? Kevin O'Leary does not back down. He says, cut more, cut deeper, because there's always going to be a large amount of waste in something that is failing, in something that is going bankrupt, and you got to dig way down to actually find it, right? And I love that analogy that, yes, all of these people that are being fired, let go by the government, they're all just fat drippings, all right? And as Scott Jennings was saying, there are going to be some people who get caught up in these massive layoffs, right? It's going to happen. Some mistakes will be made. However, this is vitally important. We've never had a government pare down like this, and it is incredibly necessary. And mistakes, guess what? They can be fixed. But what can't be fixed is some bureaucrat who's whittled himself down so far like a worm in the wood that is unwilling to come out because no one knows what he does. He just collects a paycheck, who performs no visible service whatsoever. And that, of course, is what we're trying to get rid of, which is why all the Democrats and leftists are out there in droves screaming at the top of their lungs to stop this whole process.
It's not a question of whether waste should be rooted out of the government. So many people agree with that. But now we're seeing it's the way it's being done. The government is trying to claw back several employees who oversaw nuclear weapons after they were fired. They realized, oh, we made a mistake. We need these staffers who oversee nuclear weapons. A professor at the University of Maryland, Don Kettle, who specializes in civil service, told the Washington Post that, yes, the government is likely full of wasteful bloat, but said a clumsy fix is worse than no fix at all, saying it's like going to a meat market, getting a piece of steak and trying to cut out the fat with a sledgehammer. That would only make a mess of the meat. Do you think, Congressman, that is a fair point, that the way this is being done is clumsy rather than methodical?
Again, you're upset about you're attacking the message carrier, not the results. You talk about nuclear secrets. You had a person who was in charge of nuclear secrets, a man who dressed up as a woman, would go into the airport and steal women's luggage, was overseeing those nuclear secrets under the Biden administration. And I never heard y'all say a peep about that. Again, man.
I don't know anything about that. I'll be transparent.
Elon Musk, you need to look it up. It's all over the internet. It's all over. He was uncharged.
But the question is, this is unrelated to the people overseeing nuclear weapons being fired. And Elon Musk himself said, we're moving so fast. Of course, there will be mistakes. The question is, some of these mistakes are really high stakes. Accidentally firing people overseeing nuclear weapons. Do you see that point?
Humans will make mistakes, ma'am, but currently these are bloated programs. You have no-show employees that are angry that they're having to go back to work, that they've moved, and they're not.
No one's disagreeing. There's bloat and waste.
Jobs were.
No one's disagreeing.
Well, then why are y'all not exposing it? Have y'all even talked about, hey, Mozambique, we sent them $10 million for circumcisions? Okay. I mean, goodness gracious, ma'am. Americans are paying
we've been covering at length
salaries.
Where the money is going to.
No, you haven't. All y'all do is run down Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and you continuously do this, and that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am. You
All right,
need to jump on
Congressman
board
Tim
with this
Burchett, we're
thing.
going to leave it
America
there.
is tired.
I do appreciate your time coming
Of course
on
you
and
are.
having this conversation. Thank you very much.
So that's Representative Tim Burchett, and he has been on a tear recently, just simply destroying CNN hosts. And today, Pamela Brown gets it, all right? And she's saying, hey, some political class person has said that a clumsy fix to the U.S. government waste and fraud, etc., is worse than no fix at all. That's exactly what they want. They want no fix at all, and therefore, by definition, everything else is a clumsy fix, okay? And Pamela Brown tries to gaslight and say, oh, we here at CNN are always calling out the waste and fraud, right? But Tim Burchett, he's having none of it. He's saying all you do is go after Elon Musk. All you do is try to stop this process. All you're doing is trying to convince the American people that this is somehow bad for them, all right? But the American people are seeing through it. And I love how he puts in that dig. Your ratings are in the toilet. People at your network are being fired. They're losing their jobs because you're not providing a service that anybody wants, okay? So she can gaslight as much as she wants about CNN actually being a real legitimate news source, but we all know the truth. They are a propaganda mouthpiece for the left wing, for the deep state, for the people that really don't like this country whatsoever and want to live off of your tax dollars, okay? But all of that now, of course, is coming to an end. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.